edition. Marcel Swally right here. But hate to look to my side and look at this well-dressed gentleman, Emmanuel Acho.
So isn't every episode the well-dressed edition between me and you?
Between you and you, life's a competition, you and yourself. You see, have you worn that before?
I wore it once.
When?
On the Ellen Show.
On the Ellen Show?
Yes, sir.
Oh, now you're wearing it here because our show's still on. All right, let's get it started with the NBA Finals. Well, yeah, Ellen, what happened? Chris Paul scored a game-high 32 points in Game 1 of the series, but things have changed since then. CP3's scoring has dipped to just over 16 points per game. Acho wrote that. During the Bucks' 3-game winning streak. After Saturday's loss, Devin Booker was asked an awkward question with Paul sitting next to him. Take a listen.
This is obviously a really tough loss. Devin, how frustrated are you for Chris right now?
Next question, please.
So, Acho, has Chris Paul been a disappointment in the finals?
So, Chris Paul has been a huge disappointment, man. I'm getting shades of LeBron first year in Miami finals vibes. Now, not that drastic.
Come on.
Not that drastic.
It's not even close.
But it is close because both very underwhelming. In the finals, you're supposed to be the best version of yourself. You're not supposed to be the same version of yourself, and you're definitely not supposed to be a worse version of yourself.
Really?
Big-time players, big-time plays, and big-time games. Every finals game is a big-time game. Thus, the big-time players need to be making big-time plays. And not only has Chris Paul not gotten better, many could argue he's gotten worse. So, we all want to see Chris Paul win. I know you and Chris Paul have some sort of friendship. We all want to see him win. 36 years of age, been in the league for 16 years, just played amongst four different franchises, 5 different cities. Like, we all want to see him get it. But I'm not going to turn a blind eye to the fact that Chris Paul ain't even trying to get it as much as we want to see him get it.
Talk to you.
Conference semifinals, conference finals, NBA finals. The last 3 series, Chris Paul has continued to wane in each and every one of those series. Conference semis, he averaged 25 and 10. Conference finals, he averaged 24 and 9. In the NBA finals, he's averaging 21 and 9 as we round up. As I look at it, Sel,
how you look?
Chris Paul, you're supposed to be the man, not a guy. You're supposed to be the guy. And yet, you just out here playing as if it's a regular season game, giving me regular season type of numbers.
You're cracking me up.
It's the biggest moment of your career.
Oh.
Sel can't want it more than you.
Oh.
I can't want it more than you.
Oh.
And statistically, I need to see more. So I am largely disappointed in what I've seen from CP3.
You are? Oh, my God. One, you missed a moment when I first started this off. You should have said, next question. I guarantee you, if Chris Paul wasn't sitting next to Devin Booker had some words to say. But, you know, when your boy there, like, if they ask me something shady about you, I'm like, you see how Devin Booker looked at Chris like, next question. Damn it. We missed a moment there as well. I totally disagree with you, and it's not because of my likability and friendship with Chris Paul. I'm his friend. I don't know if he's my friend. One of those, like Chris called me, but I can't call you because I got his number. All right, but no, Chris, my dog. But I'll never, ever let a friendship get in the way of doing some objective analysis. And let's talk about Chris Paul. Let's start here because I don't want to talk about Chris Paul in totality. Let's just start with the Phoenix Suns, because you brought up all the different teams he's obviously had a positive impact on, including my Clippers. CP3 is averaging more points per game in the postseason than he did in the regular season. Let's just start there, okay? So you're seeing a better version of CP3 in the postseason than the regular season. Let's talk about how he's shooting better from the three-point line in the postseason than he did in the regular season. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that his turnovers per game are fewer in the postseason than in the regular season. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how his minutes per game are up in the postseason versus the regular season at 36 years young. Let's talk about that. I'm just trying to give you some perspective, because I know King of Omission over there with his full screens will make everybody's thinking, oh, Chris Paul tripping. He Chris Paul CP 1.5. But let's talk about how he's had 3 30-point games this postseason, and he only had 2 in 72 regular season games. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. But let's not just stay that wide, and let's not go career-wide. Let's go a little different. Finals versus the rest of the postseason. Since Acho wants to talk about, when you say big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games,
talk about it.
Well, before the finals in the postseason and during the finals in the postseason, minutes per game up in the finals. Points per game up in the finals. Assists per game, up in the finals. Field goal percentage, up in the finals. Three-point percentage, up in the finals. But somebody in turquoise, I think that's turquoise, teal, I don't know, Jacksonville. Point being is trying to make me think and mislead our viewers that Chris Paul's not being CP3. Let me hear this CP 1.5 talk again.
My dog, I like how you went there because now we got to fight. I threw a quick jab, he bobbed it, he threw a left hook. Okay, now we boxing.
Let's go.
In sports, you're not competing against you. We started off the show, Marcellus Wiley said it's you versus you, Acho, when it comes to these outfit competitions.
Winning, bro.
That's in outfits. But in sports, it's not task-oriented, people. Task-oriented is, hey, is Emmanuel Acho better than his former self? Sports are goal-oriented. And goal-oriented is, hey, is Emmanuel Acho better than Marcellus Wiley? Is Marcellus Wiley better than Emmanuel Acho? That's why we love track and field.
Yeah.
Because I can run a faster time today than I did yesterday compared to myself. But how did I rank amongst everybody else? That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I love that you mentioned Chris Paul's minutes per game are up, his points per game are up, his assists per game are up. All of that is great. But when I look on the flip side, Giannis's points per game are up too.
Yeah.
Giannis's boards are up too.
Yeah.
And Giannis's points are up more than CP3's points are up. His boards are up more than CP3's assists might be up. Middleton's points are up more than CP3's points might be up. It's no longer Chris Paul, are you better than the Chris Paul you were in the regular season? It's now Chris Paul, are you better than how much better the Bucks are getting better? Because that's what it comes down to, Sal. I look at it like this.
Yeah, but,
Michael Jordan is the greatest scorer of all time. He's not the greatest passer, not the greatest rebounder, he's the greatest scorer. And in 37 playoff series, Michael Jordan led all scorers in 36 of them. So what Michael Jordan does best, which is score, when it came time for him to do it best, he did it best.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yep.
Chris Paul, what are you the best at? You're 5th all-time in NBA history in steals. You're the point guard, they call you, which means you should lead in assists and you should be nowhere near the top in turnovers. What Michael Jordan did best was score, and when he needed to do it best, he did it best. Chris Paul, I need you to get these steals. But how come you only have 3 steals this series? Last game, 8 players had more steals than you, Chris Paul. 8 of them. Chris Paul, you're the point guard. You're not supposed to turn the ball over. How come you lead the series in turnovers? In game 4, you had just as many turnovers, 5, as the entire Milwaukee Bucks team had collectively, 5. So, Sal, it's not that Chris Paul might not be better than he was in the regular season. That's cool. But in sports, it's not about you versus you. Is Chris Paul gotten better than Chris Paul? More than Giannis has gotten better than Giannis. More than Middleton has gotten better than Middleton. More than Drew has gotten better than Drew. And I think the answers are abundantly clear that they're no.
No, they're not abundantly clear, even though you're giving a great presentation right now. I think it's flawed, not because of you, because you're presenting exactly the evidence as given. It's flawed because you're having a narrative conversation versus a numbers conversation. And in a narrative conversation, I understand the perception of Chris Paul, hey, this ain't what we expected. Think about why.